Hey, it's time to get serious about Star Trek, and now here's Larry Young and John E. Price, PhD.
All right, hey everybody. That's all I got. Star Trek's great. Star Trek
Hey
Discovery is
everybody.
not.
Star Trek is cool. I like Star Trek.
All right, should we just get into it? What are we
Yes.
doing?
Yeah.
Let's
Get
talk
into
about
it.
that the Netflix not showing all of Star Trek
Yeah. Yeah.
because
I have a lot of I
that's a
have a lot to say about
procedural
that.
question we can just get going on.
Yeah. So I think it's notable. Well, first of all, we should describe what happened, right?
Mhm.
So they just spent the last like 2 weeks, 3 weeks promoting Star Trek Discovery season 4 in Europe. Like they were in England, they were in Germany, like they were promoting it with the full cast in Europe, right? Now everywhere outside of um basically North America gets Star Trek Discovery on Netflix. Us in the United States, we are privileged to have to buy Paramount Plus, former CBS All Access, and the people in Canada get it for free for some reason because who doesn't like Canadians, right?
Right.
So when it was first announced that you would have to pay for CBS All Access to see Star Trek Discovery, there was a massive uproar among American Trekkies, and pretty much all of the Europeans told us to go screw ourselves because, oh my God, you Americans, you have so much money, you can just pay for apps all day long, right? Meanwhile, they get it for free on Netflix, right? Not for free, but you know what I mean. You're paying for Netflix anyway, right? Netflix is the new cable. Everybody has it, right? So now, a week before, excuse me, 3 days before Star Trek Discovery is set to premiere, season 4, they pull all of the Star Treks from Netflix. There's no more Netflix. There's no more Star Trek Discovery in Netflix International. So all of the people that even if they want to watch season 1, 2, and 3, they can't do it. Right. So they've spent the last month and a half promoting directly in Europe, and now all of a sudden Europeans can't see it, and not just Europe, but everywhere. You know, it's international. It's Netflix International. Paramount Plus does not exist in a lot of these countries. Like they literally, there's no way for them to even get it. So everyone's in an uproar, and all the Europeans are like, "Oh, sacre bleu! How are we supposed to watch?" Right? And I'm just sitting here laughing because I remember when they told us to go screw ourselves for being whiny little baby Americans. Now they're being whiny little baby Europeans. So I'm picking on Europe because it's not popular anywhere else. It's not like it's big in fucking China, you know.
Star Trek Discovery, right. I
Yeah.
kind of can't get over it's not like they didn't know that this was going to happen, right? And they spent all that money in Germany, like you said, everywhere, going, hey, everybody get excited. And then days, like you said, days later, they're like,
Three
oh,
days.
by the way, just, go ahead and be
Well,
like America and buy
it
our
makes
streaming
it
service.
it makes it even more despicable because of course they knew. Of course they knew this was going to happen, and they spent the whole month, like, the operative the modus operandi of the Kurtzman regime has been gaslighting. And
Yes.
in every possible way, they gaslight the audience. And we can run down a whole list of examples, but this is just the latest example of them promoting the show directly in Europe, and then 3 days before being like, actually, you can't see it. It's not
Here's the thing
available.
I love, though. Like, of course that you're right about the gaslighting. Wait till you see this episode. Like, Tilly, the actress who plays Tilly, looks like she ate a clone of Tilly.
I
Like,
hate I
everybody's,
hate.
it's not even her. I don't want to pick on her. It's like half the cast looks like they picked up the COVID 20. And,
Well, part of the problem is and you know this more than anyone, it's the uniforms. They're
well,
horrible at
yeah,
making
these,
uniforms.
even, I noticed that with Stamets, who is a, fit, clean, clean.
He's a good looking dude.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He's a good
He's a
looking guy.
fit, good looking dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like he just wrapped a blanket around his shoulders. It like the way the
Ugh.
shoulders move, it like bunches up. It just looks so weird. No one would ever wear that uniform. In
Do you
fact, getting
remember?
ready,
Yeah. I'm
let me
sorry.
tell you real quick. Getting ready for the show, I put my third season, avocado green shirt on, and I had the missus like hit the eye hooks because I just can't do that. And and I said, you know what's really bad? She goes, hey, have a good time. Can't wait for you guys to do the show. And And I'm like, thanks, honey. But like, you know what's weird? Me as an old, bald, fat guy with glasses and a beard, I look more like I'm on Star Trek than the people who are on Star Trek right now.
You
And
do. You look like you're on Star Trek.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But it's so wrong. Those guys, they spend all that money, and it's just.
Well, and
I think Larry, I never saw any clutter in Star Trek. That's one of the things that kind of bothered me a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I would have loved to seen like a bulletin board, like behind you.
Oh, you're just not looking. There's so much stuff like that. In one episode, what is it? Tomorrow is yesterday. There's a scene where some crewmen left their newspapers on the side of on the floor, and they go walking by. And fortunately for them, it takes place in the 20th century, so it's not that big a deal. But you're like, there's a guy's lunch sitting right here. Like, what?
That's
hilarious. Can you zoom in and tell me the story about what's going on here while Kirk is like, punching Air Force officer? Just funny. But yeah, can I just say that thing about gaslighting? Because I think it's super important. Like, of course they've been gaslighting, and Tilly is beautiful, and this is Star Trek, and it's all canon. I get that, right? Because you're marketing. But this thing with Netflix is straight up lying to people to get money out of them. Like it's like telling everybody buy this stuff because we're going out of business, and then 3 days later say, oh, we're just having a sale. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, wait, I wouldn't have bought any of this shit right now if you just can't, as a consumer, you can't operate under like the real world. I don't know if you're lying.
It's
like,
just such a weird. And I think it's notable to point out that they've done something like this with every season of every series. So if audience will remember, Netflix paid for most of season 1 of Star Trek Discovery. Mm-hmm. And then it was CBS at the time basically was like, no, actually, we're not going to distribute it on Netflix in America. We're going to distribute it on CBS All Access. Which
so,
pissed
guys,
off
excuse
Netflix.
my...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, excuse the naivete here. So the thinking here is that this is just strictly done to say, like, if you're Star Trek, you're going to Paramount Plus. Like, there's no other game in town.
That's what they want. Yeah, that's
I think that's my understanding. Isn't everything on Paramount Plus now?
That's the move that they're trying to make here by prematurely
pulling
pulling Star Trek, any and all Star Trek from other digital platforms.
Well, it's not. See, here's the thing: it's not premature. I mean, this is all contractually obligated, and Netflix just didn't re-up their contract. It sounds like they did 3 years, and instead of telling everybody and letting people, running a promotion and going, hey, sorry, Belgium, you're going to have to watch Star Trek this way, but you know what? We're going to give you half off and get people all excited about it. And then when the show starts, you're going to retain your customers, right? No, they're just like, hey, screw you guys. We want your money right now, and you want to watch Star Trek. Bad news for them. It's completely missable. It's not appointment television. I just watched it, and okay,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's just, just to kind of finish the rundown here, with season 1 of Star Trek Discovery, Netflix paid for most of it, effectively paid for most of it with the size of the contract. And then CBS was like, actually, we're not going to show it in Netflix America, which pissed off Netflix to the point where season 1 of Picard comes around and they're like, oh, hey, Netflix, do you want to show Picard? And Netflix is like, no, screw you. We're not distributing Picard at all, which is why Picard is on Amazon Prime, not Netflix. Then they go
I didn't even know that one. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, that was the blowback to them screwing them over. Right. Yeah. Then we go to Prodigy, which was originally a co-production with Nickelodeon. It was going to air on Nickelodeon. That was the whole point. Star Trek on Nickelodeon, right? I don't remember the exact time, but a couple months before it's set to premiere, they're like, actually, we're pulling it and we're going to show it on CBS, which is now Paramount Plus.
Do they own Nickelodeon? So that kind of thing's not.
It might 100%. It might be like a Viacom like thing, but still, I'm talking about the track record here.
Oh, sure, yeah, no, that's another data point. You're right.
And now we have literally 3 or 4 days before it's set to premiere, like across the globe. it's now literally you cannot watch it in 90% of the world. To the point where every single Facebook group, every single Star Trek Facebook group I'm in is having like a meltdown right now because the Americans are having their spoiler threads and they want to talk about it, you know, whether it's pro, con, whatever. And all the other people are like, dude, you can't do that. Like, we literally cannot watch this until next year. And we're like, sorry, you should have won World War II, you know? That's all I'm saying.
But so don't you think the natural drive, though, this is going to just drive people to piracy? This is people are not going to not watch their Star Trek.
100%. 100%. That's, of course, assuming anyone wants to watch it.
Hey, I love the questions we're getting already. Ryan Clador, that guy.
Yeah, Ryan, say Ryan Clador, a friend of the show. He's gonna be here January 20th to promote his new book.
A friend of the show.
Yeah, when you get into the streaming wars and the international streaming wars, this is
it's
crazy stuff.
Ryan, though, he's not just a friend of the show. He's a friend of all pinball everywhere, which just makes him, that's like upper echelon. Those are the people I want to talk
neon signs, and bespoke watches. That is the trinity that is Ryan Claytor's existence.
Yeah, and forget his like crazy talent for doing comics, right?
Well, and comics are right in the center of that. So he does comics about them. And, oh, man, wait till you see. He just sent me a preview PDF of his latest work that's, like, about his life and his personal life and his father. And it's beautiful looking stuff. Coming soon.
You said January 30th for that?
20th, I think. On the and coming soon, we're going to do $1 million mailbox, Larry. We're going to bring some of this stuff back.
Hell yes.
Hello,
I have another shirt I could wear.
Sierra McNulty, great point here. Cluttered desk of pads in the Berman era. I love this.
That's
every piece of writing has its own tablet.
I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was watching TNG as per usual, and I was like, why is he carrying like 7 pads? Like that's the weirdest thing. Yeah,
but I guess if you think about it, if they could replicate them. And so they're essentially they cost nothing and it's no big deal. Why wouldn't you have like a separate notebook for one thing and a separate notebook for something else?
And if there's some sort of like security measure involved, like this one, you have like what we use now is like key fobs. You know, now they have just different pads. You know, it makes sense. You know?
I liked it from it's a dedicated piece of machinery for the thing. So there's like an engineering one and a medical one. Totally get that to like save on space or something, but like at some point, if you can magically transfer your entire ship from one part of the galaxy to another in seconds, like just do you need 7 pads?
Well, again, there's part where I got like I'm really a hardcore original series guy because of that whole replicator thing. Like, it was a different experience to serve on the Enterprise in the original series than the cushy cruise ship life that they have.
That's true.
Like, a big, big difference. Think about the food. Like, what were they eating on Kirk's Enterprise? They didn't have replicators.
Chicken sandwich and coffee.
Yeah, they had turkey, man. It's something that looks like it, right? There was They had food replicators. They were just full of tribbles half the time.
And they shit out little Play-Doh things. That was the food replicators.
The thing I love about that is that, like, why do you have a chef on board, right?
Why not?
It's like you got food replicators. Like you need some guy to like hand it to you.
I'm glad you brought that up because think about this, Larry. Think about this. You still want chefs. You still want cooking. Is that a lost art? In the future, because look, what do you have when you order chicken a la king from a replicator? Somebody took a plate of chicken a la king that someone made somewhere down the line and scanned it into the replicator, and you have that exact chicken a la king. But you don't have. I've never eaten chicken a la king in my life, so I don't know why I brought that one up. But like, that's all you have is that version of it, unless someone goes out of their way and actually cooks one from real ingredients and enters it into the replicator. Like, cooking would be a very kind of like food could be a very boring experience in the future.
Well, they do talk about programming with new recipes and stuff. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't know.
I love that.
Oh my God. Super chat. We got a super chat for 99 cents here, fellas. You just quadrupled my revenue for the year on this channel.
I
That's
love
awesome.
those are the kids from Lowell High School. They always check in at lunchtime when we do it.
Dude,
So
they're
what do we
swarming.
do? What do we do with the super chat? Is that
Oh,
do we
that's
have to, like,
going.
dance
Those
or something?
Quatloos are going straight to homie right here.
No, I mean, like, do we
Mad
have to, like,
Quatloos.
perform or something? Like,
Nah.
I don't.
All that
Okay.
means is
just
actually,
give us
I don't
money
even
then.
know. He did a super sticker, which is something new to me. This is like
Oh,
a
that
super
is,
chat, but it sticks around for a while, so everybody gets to see Little Corner Store and his super
Nice.
sticker. Good
Nice.
job.
The
He's a good
second
man.
I saw that, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna ask my kid, like, what's going on there."
That deserves
Extreme
a
hot
sound
dog.
effect of some kind. Oh, by the way, we'll do viewer mail later on in the show. So we had complaints. We had complaints about too many special effects and sound effects.
Unable to comply.
To which I say, I don't care. I'm sorry. That's all I got in this.
I
world.
just assumed Dantron down in engineering, like,
Yeah, I just thought everything was going
he only-
haywire. You know,
he answers to himself. That one, I just,
we try to leave the engineers alone. Just let them do their own thing. You know.
Okay, we got C. Do you know this guy? Is this
Yeah,
one of your
Kieran.
pals?
Kieran.
I
McNulty.
think we should pronounce his name differently every time. So last time you said
Yeah,
what,
dude, because I
Kieran?
wouldn't have gone Kieran out of the gate. That wouldn't have been my
I'm
first
gonna go
guess.
Kieran. So Kieran McNulty says disco fans have been arguing in defense of CBS as if liking Trek and loyalty to the corporation that makes Trek are the same thing. Now disco fans over here feel betrayed by that corporation. Weird. Yeah, exactly. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Yeah.
the party since 2017. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem is Europe's 3 years behind America, like usual, right? I mean,
Well,
we
yeah.
all felt that out of the gate, where you got to watch the first bit, that was preempted for football. So, like, literally before
Right.
it even showed, they were screwing up how to watch Star Trek. And then it's like, oh, you got this nice sample, and like nobody cared really, and somebody
Mhm.
signed up, I guess, for their streaming service, and then it was just a shit show. So
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
every once in a while. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say. tell you
No, I was
Kieran
just
McNulty
gonna
story.
say that. I was just gonna say that. I mean, the idea that you have to like it because it's Star Trek is just offensively stupid. Like, I mean, it
really
is.
seems like they count on
it's
that.
mind-numbingly stupid, right? Because
Well, the
this
same
is a
reason why they hired this guy, though. This is why they've sent Shatner into space, though, is because you get automatic goodwill with that
true.
branding. There's
That's
a
very true.
halo around Star Trek, and this might be
Is
obvious,
there?
guys. But I was thinking about this, and this is probably obvious, but like, dude, it is the original like gigantic universe type concept to play.
Oh, yeah.
They did that, so the multiple shows of Star Trek existing in that same universe, shared
Yeah.
universe, they sort of let that slip out of their hands, and I think they're trying to desperately try to do that again, but they're really not. Don't seem to be pulling it off.
But they're doing it in like the stupidest way. Like, no, you're absolutely right. Like, we call it a cinematic universe, right? But that's obviously not what we're talking about. But the same idea. I mean, from the 80s through almost what Voyager was off in 2001, 2002. I mean, you have 15 years of Rick Berman being the Kevin Feige, being like, yep, this is what's happening. We've got this entire galaxy. We've got 3 different shows exploring this entire galaxy, right? Plus, on top of that, you have, and everyone's fan favorite, Robert Meyer Burnett was talking about this one time, about how, it was revolutionary. Like, the motion picture was revolutionary because it was the same characters with the same amount of time passage, right? So you grew with the characters. So I was 8 years old watching TOS. Now I'm 18 years old watching the motion picture, that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's just asinine that they're doing it like this. Like, well, all right, I'll stop. I'm sorry.
No, I was kind of gonna pump it up a little in that they have no excuse, because forget you can pretend that you're working so hard that you don't know who Kevin Feige is and what happened with Marvel, right? But they even have internally this example of Berman is keeping his hands out. he might not have been in control of everything, but he had an idea where all the balls in the air were, right? So somebody who was a showrunner on one of the other shows could call him up and go, is this good? Is this conflicting with something that's happening? Do you mind if I hire Bill Murray from Lost in Space or DS9? You know, I mean, there was somebody that had their eye on the balls. And Kurtzman he just doesn't. He just doesn't. I'm sorry.
Hey, this guy Ciaran says proper pronunciation is Kieran, but knock yourself out.
Okay.
Well, good luck.
Well, yeah, we apologize, Kaya Ciaran.
Yes, I apologize, Sharon.
Dude, we got a comment war breaking out here with the LOL kids.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there.
They all love Walker, and my son Walker and I do a show called Dorkart, and I love
Dorkart.
Oh, thanks, man. It's cool to see what a kid thinks of the stuff that we take so seriously, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, Ant-Man, of course he's going to kill Thanos when he goes up his butt. Like, you know, they'll talk for an hour about that. Anyway, so yeah.
Closure, I acknowledge your existence. You mean something, buddy.
Yeah, I saw that you gave him a thumbs up as soon as that came up, so good job.
Someone asked why I have a writhe up. I don't know what that means.
Write up, probably, right? A write up?
No.
Right. Oh, a wreath. Why do you have a wreath?
But I'm trying to make fun of him for bad spelling. Stay in school, kids. Stay in school.
My kid loves that you said don't listen to your English teacher.
Yeah, I need to walk that one back.
I see. Yeah.
He's
you have a wreath up, John. Oh, that behind you. Yeah, that's highly responsible of you. That's great. That shows a high level of responsibility.
Yeah. Well, it is Christmas time. Anyway, yeah, I hate Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, Mario says Berman understands the show. You know what's hilarious about that? Literally the entire planet, and now half of them can't see it, understands Star Trek better than Alex Kurtzman.
It's insane. Even if you have a bad idea, you still understand Star Trek better than he does. Like, it's crazy.
When I was watching the season 4 episode 1 today, I was picking out mentally, oh, here's where he rewrote somebody who actually knew what they were saying.
You know, I was watching.
You can tell when he introduces stupidity. That's all.
There's some special or series or something going on, like 55 Years of Trek or whatever it is. And I was watching it with the missus, and they were talking about how Gene Roddenberry was a World War II veteran, and like he worked very hard to make, he was a police officer. He worked very hard to make TOS seem like a realistic, not military, but organizational structure. Like, this is the way you say, engineering to bridge. This is the, uniforms, all this sort of like quasi militaristic structure that we're going on, right? And also the rest of them, almost everyone producing and acting on that show was a World War II veteran, right? Or was alive during World War II, right? I mean, James Doohan infamously only had 9 fingers because he was a friggin' D-Day hero, right?
He got
Gene
his hand shot up.
Gene Roddenberry got shot down in the South Pacific because he was a badass pilot. Matt Jeffries was a pilot. So all these people, there it is. So all these people, they brought that innate sense of this is what an actual show would or not show, but this is what an actual environment would feel like, right?
Guys, I didn't notice till just now that you could see the finger missing in this shot.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah. It's right there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But anyway, long story short, no one writing today has any real world experience. They're all professional drama writers or teen drama or young adult writers, or whatever the hell they call themselves, right? They're all professional script writers. They haven't lived real, Hemingway has that amazing quote that I always hated until I turned 30, but it's don't write a word until you turn 30 because you haven't done anything, right? I'm paraphrasing badly, but that's Hemingway. And so it's something like that, where it's like, if you don't have any real world experience, you can't write a show like Star Trek, right? You can very easily write, Roswell You know, you can very easily write.
Oh no.
You know, I'm not picking on Roswell. I'm just saying, like, a teen drama or a young adult drama or a CW show or something. But if you're writing a show that is you could not write Battlestar Galactica, the new one, if you knew nothing about the military. You know, you physically could not do it, right? And so,
Well,
and I'm not
thing,
saying,
though.
and I'm not saying you have to be in the military or anything like that. I'm not saying only military people can write shows, but you have to have some sort of conceptualization of what your universe looks like and feels like. You know, it's like Larry, you always say because I get caught up when I do stories, I get caught up in the world, like the world building, right? I'm an historian. I love talking about the dates and the context and, you know, writing out a list of every single Constitution class ship, you know, because I need to have that information, you know? So, but the reader doesn't care, you know, all the reader needs to know is here's the story, right? And you as the author are going to drop in all that information that builds the world. You know, The Expanse is brilliant at this. I haven't read the books, but just the TV show, The Expanse, is brilliant at this. You can tell there's an entire backstory, an entire world, and they don't tell you it. They're not sitting there saying, well, in 2156, Mars rebelled, and in 2157, blah, blah. No, but you feel that, you know, through the show itself. And you are not getting that at all from these new shows because they're just professional Hollywood scriptwriters. That's all they are.
I just love the whole, you said the thing about Battlestar Galactica. First, we should probably apologize to friend of the show, Glenn Farrington, who was on staff of Roswell.
I liked Roswell. The original Roswell, I liked Roswell.
It was just hilarious.
That is funny.
But you're right. It's like you can fake it if you have an understanding of what you're faking, right? I mean, the guys that Ron Moore doing Battlestar Galactica was great right until the end when he got all Mary Sue about it. But I know that's a minority opinion.
It's a whole
but
thing.
Like you said, these guys are so concerned with doing their young adult stuff. I mean, all you need to know is it was made up by the 90210 guys, right? That's all you need to know.
And they sacrifice because their version of the world is what they think looks cool, right? And Gene Roddenberry wasn't doing, and Matt Jeffries wasn't doing what they think looked cool. Matt Jeffries was basically an engineer himself, right? If I'm not mistaken. Right. Like, so he was drawing blueprints of, hey, here's my fictional starship, right? Hey, do you like it? You know, like,
right. I love they named the Jeffries tube after him, right? Because you need a thing perfect. Where you have to maintain your fucking machinery, right? And so it just looks futuristic. But like, how many submarine shows have you seen where people are crawling through something? It's, you know, here that's like, oh, well, the nacelles are unattached because we can flip stuff around using CG, and none of this has any like bearing in the real world. I don't know.
And it's just, you know, the Discovery people and I guess it's the same as the Picard people ostensibly at a certain level. They're just doing wouldn't it be badass if they had a laser fight? It's like, well, that's not, you know, this is the Star Trek fandom you're talking about, right? Like, this isn't Pew Pew Star Wars where people are like, oh, that's a badass lightsaber, right? Like, and you know, they both have their pros and cons, but Star Trek's fans are the nerdiest fans in the world, right? If you do something, and I know I've made this point before, but like, they made Star Trek Discovery and then like they made it poorly in every possible way. Then they gave us a week in between each episode to rip it apart, and everyone on the internet ripped it apart. They begged us to do it,
right?
And then they got mad when everyone ripped it apart. Like, what did you expect us to do? We're all basically like, you know, OCD, like fake. You know, we all think we're in Starfleet. Larry and I are wearing goddamn Starfleet uniforms. Like, we think we're in Starfleet. If you tell me that you're setting a show in 2256, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on.
Right. You know what happens in April, right?
Right.
It's
like you can't just be like, oh, well, now this happened. Now we explained blah, blah, blah. We don't need it explained. It has already been explained.
I love your thing about the phasers, because think about in the old show, it's rare when they shoot somebody with their gun, right? They're always like heating up rocks, or using it as a tactical thing by phaser on overload, and it's never pew pew. I mean, it's rare when they do it,
because they're not like conquistadors, right? They're explorers. They're scientists. Those old scientists, right? Which is now canon. Thank you.
I know. I love that.
I'm embracing that 100%. Right?
Yeah, me too.
They're scientists. Kirk has how many speeches where he says, "I'm not a soldier. I'm an explorer," or whatever the hell he says. Right?
Yeah, he always he fills it in more than McCoy does, but he doesn't do it in a catchphrase way. Right? McCoy is always like, "I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer."
Right.
And Kirk literally is saying, "I'd love to shoot you, but I have to do this diplomatic thing." Or, "I'd love to shoot you, but can't we come to an understanding?"
And I don't even think Kirk wants to shoot people. Kirk wants to be the badass explorer because those are the ideals of the society he lives in, which goes back to our whole backstory conversation. The backstory
Kirk wants
of
to
Star
fuck
Trek.
people. Yeah, he wants to fuck. He wants to go to other worlds. He wants to spread his seed across the galaxy and spread the word of the gospel of the Federation. We know how it works.
There's nothing wrong with that. He's an
I think
evangelical.
that's added value for Kirk. I think Kirk wants to be Jacques Cousteau. I think that's what it is. But then it's like, hey, get to bang some jellyfish girls? That's great. Jacques Cousteau probably did too. You know what's weird though is just like people have forgotten what Star Trek is supposed to be about. Like, I can't stream Jacques Cousteau. I was telling my kid about. You used to be able to on Sunday watch this cool shit. It was like National Geographic every week, and he's like, I'm like, this guy invented the Aqualung, and he's like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, well, if I show you, this will be cool, and it's like nowhere. I don't know. Somebody must own that stuff.
Yeah, Mario's got it. Mario says, to John's point, sending the shows in Starfleet was a mistake. The universe is wide. They don't need to use a military environment to get pulled off. Yeah, that's why Prodigy works.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
that's why Prodigy works. What's in Star Trek. Yeah. I want to see where who's not in the military in the Star Trek universe. Because, do most people in the future choose to join the Navy? Is that the thing in the future?
Right.
I mean...
I can't imagine.
Those who don't, are they denied the ability to travel through space? Are they bound? Are they stuck on Earth? There's no other way. It seems a little bit militaristic, and if not downright fascist, just well, what else are you gonna do, Bucko? You're stuck on Earth.
Right.
Unless you get with the scene.
That's just what the show's about. I mean, how many times do you see somebody that it's because in the future everything's taken care of, so nobody has to work. So it's all intellectual pursuits. Everybody is an actor, or they're sad about, maybe they're on a merchant ship and they're like, oh yeah, I tried for such a command, but it's a very special vessel and crew. I'm just gonna have to, join this Roman thing and bread and circuses like Maricus, right? Or the guys, the Archons, or it's just these are the badasses. It's like doing a show about the FBI or a street cop. I don't want to see street cop shows. I want to see the badasses. It's just, unfortunately, Star Trek Discovery is not about badasses.
No.
And that's why Prodigy doesn't work for me. I have that whole kid protagonist thing. I just don't care, and even in cartoons. Sorry.
But to Mario's point, at least Prodigy isn't oh, now we're in Starfleet. It's no, they're going through, they're doing their own thing. They're not bound by the rules of the universe as established. They're just doing their own thing, right? I admit I haven't seen the latest Prodigy, so I could be talking on my ass. I don't know.
I haven't watched. Is it a Starfleet Academy type deal? They always talked about doing that show. Don't you remember they talked about that for so many years?
Yeah, that's always. I dread.
Seems like a natural to Harry Potter meets Star Trek, right? You bring it together. And...
I'm good with a few.
I dread it.
I'm good with a few episodes they show Starfleet Academy. I don't need a whole show.
Well, I mean, if you're trying to get to the kids market, I guess is what I'm saying. If you're trying to make a kids show, that just seems like a natural.
No,
there's a couple novels that are pretty good.
But that's the reason that's not going to work, Dan, and why I beg them not to do that is because if you're trying to hit the kid audience, setting a show in school is the worst thing ever. Kids are they leave school to want to do some escapism, and so that's where all the pew pew comes from, I guess. But oh, here's a whole episode about how my anti-gravity teacher doesn't like me. You know,
it is so cliched as to be hack at this point. Superhero Academy, Star Trek Academy, but that's why I would expect to see it churning out of the machine that is Paramount.
I can tell you, I'd like it more than Discovery.
just automatically.
Automatically, yeah.
Hey, you'd have your Vulcan you'd have your Vulcan science teacher, and you'd have your Klingon PE teacher, gym teacher. Or
yeah, but knowing these people, they'd be like, actually, it's Spock's third cousin, your teacher, Spockette. Fuck out of here. But yeah, you could do like a Saved by the Bell. That'd be interesting, you know. I don't want them to do any of this.
Yeah, I'm with Brandon about the end of Battlestar Galactica.
As a graduate of Starfleet Academy myself,
Brandon.
I don't want any of that.
Yeah, if they had quit that episode with Rosalind dying on the cliff and just pulling out and running credits, I would never say anything bad about it.
Yeah.
See, guys, this is where I'm going to disagree with Mario here on this stuff because I feel like Star Trek is the difference between Star Trek and Stars, and this is probably cliche and hack too, is just like in Star Trek, you're the army. In Star Wars, you're the resistance, right? You're the in Star Trek, you are the authority figure.
Yeah, you're the man.
You're the rebellion. You're the rebel, and that's the fundamental difference between at least the political ramifications of those two universes. I think.
Well, TNG does a really good job of exploring that. You know, a couple times when they come across species that aren't in the Federation, they don't really know how to act. They're like, well, we have our rules, but you're just kind of doing your own thing, and I don't really know what's going on. Usually Picard solves it with a speech, but I think still to the point, it's an interesting dilemma where it's like, from our viewer fan perspective, the Federation is the hegemony, right? From everyone else's perspective, they're just another government. So that's an interesting concept. And Discovery could have done something interesting like that, and I'm sure they're gonna. No, they're not. They're not gonna try. No, I would draw my comment immediately.
I love those episodes of TNG you're talking about with Picard because they're like this close to being Seinfeld episodes. You know, it's like you're okay with your government. You know, not that there's anything wrong with that, but let us show you the Federation thing. You know, it's like Anyway,
guys, are we ready to move on to viewer mail?
I was just going to ask.
For the viewer
mail do we get? Are we talking about? Is this John Haymail corner or?
Yeah, are you talking the chat or some other stuff that you found?
John, you had some comments that were going around about you wanted to bring up.
Oh, are we going to do my hate mail?
Yes,
John,
do that. John E. Price hate mail.
John E. Price hate mail. We need a graphic for this because it's pretty.
Dr. John E. Price.
It's pretty common. Where to go? Oh no.
What do we call this? We call this. Here we go.
Can I just give Saga a shout out where you're looking for that? He's
yeah.
Prodigy is okay. Yeah, Prodigy is okay, but you want that from your Star Trek? It's like, it's okay. Oh man, I'm not. Well, I was going to say I'm not buying any uniforms from Prodigy, but if somebody makes that insignia, I'm down with that. I'm just cool. I'm in the tank for new insignias.
I mean, they're pretty cool. Oh no, I can't find it.
So I know I got a comment that said, yeah, like I said, enough with the effects, but they said actually the visual effects were okay. It's the sound effects. So I'm trying to tone the sound effects because I guess they're delayed, so it doesn't really work the way we want it to work, fellas. Sorry,
it happens.
I loved. Was it last episode where you had the engine hum the whole time? I was like, yeah, that's the stuff.
Maybe that we could probably do that. Let's see.
The engine hum's not, and honestly, when somebody says something ridiculous and you have verified.
Okay, here we go. I got it.
That makes me laugh.
All right, I got it. I like that. The engine hum. I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
All right.
So
I'll just try to keep it at a minimum, guys.
Yeah. So to preface this, right, as I said earlier, for season 1 and season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, I did weekly reviews, and some of them were rather popular, some of them were less popular, which I think the better ones were less popular, but thus is the life of a writer, right? So the Star Trek
love me in the way that I want you to love
that's
me.
right, that's right. I think this is hilarious. Why don't you? The Star Trek Discovery season 2 finale, however, was just hilariously offensive and terrible, right? If anyone recalls, right, it's this big battle with I don't even remember what happens in the episode. Star Trek Discovery season 2 finale, but because that was the one with oh yeah, that's the one with the big battle with the fake Enterprise, and she has her heartfelt moment and with fake Spock, and she's like, "Find your counterpoints," right? As if we're all supposed to jizz that all of a sudden they dropped a Voyager episode title, right? Anyway, so I wrote, my immediate reaction was like, "This is terrible," right? And I read a couple reviews, and they're like, "Eh, it was okay." I'm like, no. I know how to do a clickbait headline. So here we go, right? So my title for my weekly review was "The Star Trek Discovery season 2 finale was awful, and you all know it," right? And I thought I made a pretty convincing case. It's up on themedium.com if you want to check it out, right? Every click gets me, I don't know, like a penny or something, so go for it. Anyway, this is April of 2019, right? It has a whole bunch of comments from April, May 2019, right? That's perfectly fine. However, probably once a month, it's got to be like once a month, once every 2 months, maybe, I still get comments on that article, right? So, and they're always negative. They're always negative comments about, oh, this author, blah, 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 right? So anyway, literally last week, I got a new one. It's one of my favorite ones, okay? It's from a guy with an anime avatar and a fake screen name handle, right? That I don't know how to pronounce, but it's not like a real word, right? It's not his. The key point here is it's not his real name. It's not, right? Okay. I only came across this, comma, because I found a link, comma, while searching for a Discovery Season 4 release date, comma, and to my grand surprise, comma, there was an option among the top Google search results, comma, that said, colon, "Why is Star Trek Discovery so bad?" I tried, comma, half-heartedly, comma, reading some of the things, comma, but evidently this person seems to be quite ignorant, comma, of the many things, quote, he, she, it describes. Side note, gender shaming? Probably not the smartest move, bro. Okay, it keeps going. I'm only in the first paragraph. So, the quote-unquote profile of this possibly fictional person could say anything really, comma, and there's no way to prove, PROOVE, parentheses, how it sounds, whether or not, whatever, I don't even know this paragraph. Okay, the profile of this possibly fictional person could say anything really, and there's no way to prove how it sounds, whether or not whatever was written on the profile is real or not. I don't know what it means either.
So you have to address that. I mean, clearly you are not a fictional person.
Clearly, I am a fictional person who puts my real name, like everything I have is my real name, my real image, whatever, right? Okay, fine. And we continue. Hate on Dr. John. That's right. And we continue. I can only assume, comma, that the author of this terrible quote-unquote review, comma, has capital never ever tried to make a TV show, comma, or write a fictional book with an established fictional world. Side note, not really true, but those are all in my personal hard drive, so we'll see. We continue. I have no idea what brought this on, comma, but to me it seems as if what is driving the majority of dislike here, comma, is indeed a dinosaur-like state of being, comma, where everything produced after year X, comma, is always so bad and much worse than what it could have been. However, all of these people, comma, is negative comments and half thought through ideas, comma, about how bad things are, comma, instead of actually offering up a better version themselves. I can now devote the rest of this comment to utterly destroying the author, comma, and people like that, comma, but I really do not see what good it would do, comma, other than place me into the same disgustingly backwards ideology, comma, that plagues them. Look, pal, comma, if all you can do is sit back and toss shite at others, comma, then just do yourself a big favor, semicolon, just stop. If you can live up to 1/1,000,000th of the work, comma, that you've decidedly gone out of your way, comma, to try and make it seem like nothing, comma, then please show us all here, comma, that you are capable of making something better, ... please, ... I ask you, ... please, comma, Show us all, comma, how better, comma, and how much more clever that you are, comma, and create something, comma, instead of just trying to destroy. Be more scientific, all caps, comma. Be more Star Trek-like, comma. Be a better human.
Wow.
Fiend. This,
The best
I
thing
want
about
to
that-
get this framed. I want to get this framed.
The best thing about that is that he's saying shite. So
Yeah.
obviously it's somebody from England or
this
points.
is very clearly in England. I have this whole working
but the best
theory,
part
by the
is
way.
he can't watch Star Trek anymore. So
You can't watch it. You can't watch
Thanks.
Star Trek season 4. So go fuck yourself, buddy. I'm gonna. This guy is why I want to do weekly reviews of season 4, and I want to tag him in every single one of them, and be like, "Spoilers, asshole."
man.
Oh my god, there's so many things about this. I love the fact that he thinks I'm possibly fictional. Right, I love that.
Yeah. I don't know what that was about.
I love the fact that it's a weekly review, right? First of all, it's part of a review series, and yet he's acting as if I went out and like just randomly decided to shit on people. Have you heard of weekly reviews? Do you know what media critics are? And then I love this. Halfway through, I could now devote the rest of this comment to utterly destroying the author. No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't write circles around me. What are you fucking kidding? I can write circles around you, buddy.
You can't say that without doing it. You know, I mean, you would have
Right?
some.
What?
You would have some respect for him if he tried to, right?
Right. If
he's
you
not,
tried.
he's not gonna get the old sheriff.
It
But you know,
depends
first of
if
all,
good job slapping leather. You know.
First of all, if you're gonna claim to outright me, which you literally can't do, try proofreading. Was that comma
John,
counter?
but if you measure it by use of commas, if that
That's
is
true.
the
I mean,
criteria,
if commas were Quatloos, he'd be singing in the rain. You know what I mean?
The thing I
just
is
love it.
He's mad about something you wrote 2 years ago. So guess who
Two
wins?
and a half years ago, April 2019.
But as a writer, guess who wins? You did. You wrote something that is So like, go ahead.
I want a GIF of me going like this.
The counter argument is not like, oh, you think you know what you're doing? Where's your TV show? The counter argument is, oh, this is how you shit on somebody, and then he shits on you.
Yeah.
But he didn't do
your
it.
critique is bad. Here is my critique.
Exactly.
It's almost like you're a fucking moron, and I
Well,
win.
whatever. Kirk got the Gorn without even just.
Anyway,
scraps from the ground.
I just appreciate I appreciate a good hate mail. That's all.
You know what I think about
man?
this.
Let me tell you this: you have not had
for
hate.
watching.
You have not seen hate mail until you've checked out one of my interviews, specifically one of the Comics Gate ones. Go check out my first Dan and EVS interview out there, and then look in the comments and look at the live comments, and you will just see not just my opinions attacked, but my character, my upbringing, you know what I mean? My lineage, as well as like the foundations of my education and moral education, all attacked in the comments. But I'll tell you the truth though, this stuff, there's a negativity bias for everyone, including us. You remember those negative ones. This guy really stuck out like a sore thumb, and you will remember him, and you're talking about him.
I know.
He's getting attention in that way. So it's like, how do we stop this phenomenon, guys?
No, that's the best part, though, right? It's like you wrote something that made somebody feel like that.
It's a lot of power.
You can feel happy. You can feel sad. You can be angry. You can think that whoever wrote this is possibly fictional. Mm-hmm. That's all what we want, right? Like, and somebody going, I saw what I said about Star Trek. Who cares? Oh,
just to clarify, the article at Star Trek Discovery Season 2 finale is awful, and you all know it, was written in, I guarantee you, from time I opened to the time I press publish, a half hour.
Yeah. And guess
a half hour out of my day in April 2019 caused this guy to have a fucking aneurysm.
You're making honey like the bees, and the ancient Egyptians put it in a jar.
It's a lot of power, man. It's an ego trip, I'll tell you. It's an ego trip. You
open the jar and put the water back in, and you can reconstitute the honey. You're making honey forever.
That's right.
For something that took you a half an hour.
That's right.
So, yeah. So, thanks.
All right, well, guys, wait a minute. To break this To break
Yes,
the
please.
negativity cycle, let's pull out something positive. Let's end the show on positive Star Trek notes. Like, what's the greatest Star Trek thing going on right now? I think I know what Larry would say as far as shows. I think you'd probably talk about Lower Decks.
Oh, I love Lower Decks. Yes,
Right?
Lower
Like,
Decks.
so, like, what I'm trying to go for is that, like, they're trying to put this thing like, let's do kiddie Star Trek, let's do funny adult-ish Star Trek, let's do action adventure Star Trek. So, is it a big enough universe where they can do that and still pull off like the fan base thing, the big tent fan base that they have?
I think so.
Can they broaden the tent this way?
I think the way you're thinking about it is the correct way to think about it. I don't think that's how they're thinking about it, though. I think that, like you said, that's the hope, but not the practice. I don't think these guys can pull it off because the kids show is kind of kiddie, and you're balkanizing your audience for no reason. Like you know what I mean? You're like, hey, I have this restaurant, and instead of giving everybody the kind of food they want, they're just going, no, this is what we're making, and just deal with it because you like our restaurant. That's and
not
if you don't
the way
like
to do
it, you're not a real fan.
Yeah. You don't like food.
That's right.
I don't know.
No, I do think if they were more like the problem with Star Trek Discovery is not in execution per se, because they're pouring money into visual effects, they're pouring money into the sets and everything, right? The problem is the story and the writing and the plots and characters, right? The actual TV show part.
Why you watch TV?
Right, the why you watch TV thing, right? So like if they cleaned up those parts and made it palatable, because I mean there's a lot of shows that are probably not well written, but because they're their own thing, people don't mind it, right? And it kind of has time to evolve into itself, right? There's a lot of shows that can do that, especially in streaming now, because streaming you get 10 episodes, and if it's good, it's good, it's bad, whatever, right? Their first mistake was, as we all know, setting it before Kirk, because right there immediately you sent off everyone's trigger points. But if they had sent it, even if they said it before Kirk and they made better characters and better writing decisions, it still would have been okay. You can still have an action adventure show. They're just not making a good one.
Yeah.
Does that make
sense? Can I just interrupt real quick on that? Because their problem is that they set expectations that they didn't deliver on. Right? So like
they couldn't. Yeah.
If they had done that exact show and just dropped it on us, it would have taken 2 years for us to go, hey, this isn't that great. This isn't really Star Trek. But because the audience would have given it time to go out, but they said, here's a thing, and it's 10 years before Kirk and Spock, and oh, guess what? Our lead actress is related to your beloved character. They set all these things thinking that was going to help, and that was the exact wrong thing to do. And you and me called it before we saw a frame of it. So it's not like this is a secret in High Science 2020. We saw that immediately. It's like, no, don't do that.
All they needed to do was send us a PM on Facebook and be like, hey, is this a good idea? I would have been like, no, this is a terrible idea.
I'm constantly talking to Brian Fuller. I'm like, yeah, man, what are they doing to your baby?
Ugh, that poor guy. That poor guy.
Oh, I know.
Anyway.
Anyway,
and everyone loves all the Discovery fans love. Well, actually, the Klingon redesign was Brian Fuller's idea. I'm like, yeah, Brian Fuller also had a whole plot that he wanted to do with actual characters and stories.
Right, might have made sense.
I can handle a redesign of Klingons if it's a good show, and it's not. So,
here's the thing that Dantron's gonna love. I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone. If you live in Europe or outside of North America, mute me right now. But there's a giant, the mouse droid in Star Wars, that little joke, the little thing, the little Tonka truck that goes at Chewie when he's in the binders, and he goes, and it goes beep, 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 beep.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
There's a Tribble that size. They just took that thing probably and covered it in fur and did that exact joke in the latest episode. So,
how many jokes did they steal from the Orville? I mean,
so there's So I'm actually going to call those things food tribbles now because of H.
Well,
John Benjamin.
This is what I get for leaving quadritriticale lying around my office. You know what I mean? This is what happens. But I think I have a solution, guys. We got to get out of here pretty soon. But I think I got a solution. I'm going to use the transporters here. Hang on a second. Here we go. Much better.
There we go.
Oh, beam them into space. Kill those things.
Who knew that they were... Everybody thought tribbles were boneless, but there's actually a little... that's the best part. Scoop out the marrow from the tribble bone.
Oh, gross.
That's good eating.
Hey, do we want to tell the kids we're going to move to Friday?
Oh, yeah. Why don't you let them know, Larry? What time are we doing this thing?
So noon on Fridays on the internet. We're going to
on the internet.
We're going to help you go to your... Yeah, my wife loves that for some reason. I don't know. Just being funny. But yeah, noon is our new time because we're going to make you go out on the weekends with some happy stuff. Or, you know, just laughing at us pooping on Star Trek again.
We also need time to actually watch Star Trek.
That's, yeah, well.
By we,
I wasn't going to say that. Like
I need time to watch Star Trek.
Dr. John E. Price works for a living, so.
Yeah, it's awful. You know. I don't recommend it.
And fans of that Dan Shaheen dude from Comic Book News, they're going to be back on Thursdays, and I'll be here on Fridays. We're expanding the channel a little bit to add in a little bit of Star Trek love. So happy to have you guys on board. It's been a ton of fun. You people out there, if you like this thing and you want to see more, there's really only one way to let us know. You know what that is? Ba-ba-bing! Thumbs up, please.
Hit the bell.
Put them up.
Hit the bell.
Hit that bell for notifications. If you don't like it, you can click that thing, that down thing. I don't mind. Give me a comment down below. Show's a little too blue for you? I know how it goes. I've heard it before. Keep those comments coming in and keep those subscriptions and those eyeballs. Spread the word to your other Star Trek friends. This channel's not just about comic books, although we'll try to sprinkle that in where we can, right, Larry?
Oh, yeah. I mean, comics are part of the, you know, our skeletal... The whole thing about triple bones, like, really threw me off. I kind of like can't get that image out of my...
Larry's just over there like, Thanksgiving's coming up. All right.
Anyway, so here's a comic thing. I think the Adam Hughes Star Trek graphic novel, I forget what it's called. That's the best Star Trek comics ever.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Also, the DC run had a couple of really good years in there.
Larry, we got to do. We'll do a comic episode or something. We'll bring in some.
Let's make John Price read Star Trek comics, and we'll talk about.
We'll turn him on to the good stuff. I love that. I love it. Just like you guys are exposing me to all the Star Trek that I shouldn't be watching. Like I understand now. It's smart to not pay attention. I did the same thing, like I said, for Star Wars, though. All it would take is one good show to really do it for me, and I think to bring everybody back on board. Like Mandalorian pretty much brought back those guys like me, you, Larry, that were lapsed, right? Oh, yeah. We need the Star Trek version of the Mandalorian, and I think
never doubt Larry to pull out a Mando helmet.
I could not agree with you more. I can watch Star Trek warm, or I can watch Star Trek cold.
I think you nailed it with they need is a high concept thing. Like Mandalorian is obviously like a spaghetti western, right? So they need you nailed it with the Hunt for Red October on a like a Klingon bird of prey, Larry. I've been thinking more and more about that. How fun is that?
I'm telling you, if I was in the Writers Guild, I would move to Burbank and show them how to do Star Trek. But it's just...
And then you show them coming in at the Vasquez Rocks. I've got some mock-ups I'm working on, guys.
Oh, excellent. That's the best.
I'm working on that.
Maybe next time. I went to Vasquez Rocks once, and it was before, everybody had a phone in their pocket. So I think I have like 3 pictures, and nobody would believe me anyway, because it's like me when I'm 30. It's like, that's not you.
All right, guys, we got to get out of here. But remember, folks, come back next week, next Friday, for noonish Pacific time is what we're thinking. Come back, internet. Bring your comments. Talk down below if you want to hear more specific topics about Star Trek. Please let us know. We'll read your comments on the next episode. Yeah.
Send John some hate mail.
Send me hate mail. That's
Yeah,
great.
Please let us know
I love
exactly
it.
what's wrong with Dr. John. We really
I mean,
are
no
looking
reason
for
to get personal,
specifics.
you know.
Please get personal because I want him to understand the power that YouTube is. You've been on these message boards or whatever, pal. Welcome to YouTube, John, because it's a whole other animal. So
That's cool.
Enjoy. We got a couple
Live
more.
long and
Oh,
prosper.
okay, we got to get out of here. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Kiaraon, for watching. I really appreciate it.
Aaron,
Sheeran.
thank you, Aaron.
Ed
And
Sheeran.
Tony,
Oh, that's Tony.
please do
Playing-
rewatch.
playing
Please
too much
share this
tennis,
with your
Tony.
friends.
Yeah, watch
Like-
it. Watch it again. Watch
Like,
it,
comment,
4
subscribe,
times.
and we will see you. When are we going to see you? Next Friday with more serious Star Trek. Because God damn it, we keeps it serious around here, right? Right.
Counselor's log, final entry. The crews of both ships had much in common, and many differences. Most notably,
Counselor Troy, Captain Picard requires you on base immediately.
acknowledged. Now what was I saying? Oh yes.